Is it possible to understand biological science without teleology? Let's begin with the Darwinian perspective. The Darwinian perspective of evolution, named after Charles Darwin, is a cornerstone of modern biological science. This perspective sees teleology, the idea that nature is directed towards an end or goal, as an antiquated notion, a relic of theology or Aristotelian philosophy. This is not to say that Darwinian evolution completely dismisses the concept of cause and effect, but rather, it redefines it. The Darwinian perspective holds that evolution is a natural process driven by random mutations and natural selection. It argues that there's no need for a final cause or end goal in evolution. In other words, it rejects the idea that organisms or traits evolved for a specific purpose. Instead, it posits that traits evolved as a result of random genetic mutations, and those that enhanced survival were passed on to subsequent generations through natural selection. From this standpoint, the shape of a carnivore's tooth isn't designed to tear and rip, nor is a herbivore's tooth designed to crush. Rather, these traits evolved over time because they proved advantageous in the struggle for survival. The carnivore with a better ability to tear and rip its prey had a better chance of survival. And so, over time, this trait became more prevalent. The orthodox Darwinian belief is that evolution is not a process that was set in motion to reach a particular end. It doesn't aim for perfection, nor does it strive towards complexity. It merely happens, driven by the blind forces of nature. This perspective of evolution does away with the need for a teleological explanation. There's no ultimate purpose or design, only a series of random events shaped by natural selection. It's a perspective that prizes the how over the why and finds no need for a final cause to explain the diversity and complexity of life. From the Darwinian perspective, teleology is not necessary in understanding the biology and the process of evolution. Now, let's shift our focus to the teleological perspective. This intriguing viewpoint can be traced back to the teachings of Aristotle, who proposed 4 causes to explain the nature of things. Among these, the final cause, or teleology, stands out as a unique perspective. Aristotle suggested that certain aspects of nature are directed towards a goal or an end, an idea that can't be solely explained by efficient and material causes. For instance, he posited that the design of teeth in carnivores and herbivores is not merely a result of how they evolved, but also a reflection of their purpose, to tear and rip for carnivores, and to crush for herbivores. This teleological perspective goes beyond the physical and efficient causes to explore the purpose or the ultimate goal of natural phenomena. It asks not just how, but why. Why do certain things exist the way they do? What are they meant for? Notable scholars like Bernard de Brera, a renowned butterfly expert, and Michael Egnor, a distinguished neurosurgeon, echo Aristotle's thoughts on teleology. De Brera once said, "Evolutionism outrageously attempts to defend the philosophically indefensible, implying that it proposes an effect without a final cause. He called it a great fraud that cannot be taken seriously." Similarly, Egnor stated, "No explanation of nature, not in biology or physics or in any natural science, makes sense without recourse to final causes." These scholars argue that the understanding of nature, particularly in biological science, is incomplete without considering the ultimate goal or purpose. They see teleology as the cause of causes, the missing piece in the puzzle of understanding the natural world. In essence, the teleological perspective asserts that teleology is inherent and essential in understanding the nature of biological science. It is not just about the process of evolution, but also about the purpose and goal that nature seems to pursue. This perspective serves as a reminder that sometimes, to truly understand the world around us, we need to look beyond the how and delve into the why. Having examined both sides of the debate, let's delve deeper into the importance of teleology in biological science. Let's start with J.B.S. Haldane, who once quipped that teleology is like a mistress to a biologist. He cannot live without her, but he's unwilling to be seen with her in public. This statement encapsulates the complex relationship between biology and teleology. Despite the reluctance to acknowledge it, teleology has a profound influence on the way we understand and interpret biological phenomena. Then, we have Stephen Talbot, who challenged readers to pose a single topic for biological research, doing so in language that avoids all implication of agency, cognition, and purposiveness. This is a near impossible task, as biology inherently deals with systems and organisms that act with apparent purpose and design. Denis Noble, Emeritus Professor of Physiology at Oxford, further emphasized this point. He stated that it is virtually impossible to speak of living beings for any length of time without using teleological and normative language, words like goal, purpose, meaning, correct, incorrect, success, failure. These terms, laden with teleological implications, are fundamental to our understanding of biological systems, from the cellular level to entire ecosystems. In a more recent study in 2020 titled Metaphor and Meaning in the Teleological Language of Biology, Annie L. Crawford found that teleological concepts cannot be abstracted away from biological explanations without loss of meaning and explanatory power. This means that without teleology, our understanding of biology becomes incomplete, less meaningful, and less powerful. In each of these perspectives, there's a recurring theme. Teleology is not just some outdated philosophical concept. It's a necessary tool for understanding the complex, purpose-driven actions and reactions that define life itself. When we strip away the teleological language from biological science, we lose much more than words. We lose a fundamental perspective that brings depth, meaning, and understanding to our study of life. It becomes evident that teleology plays an undeniable role in the realm of biological science. Moreover, it is also found that the narrative glosses of evolution can be readily substituted in papers without any loss of meaning or explanatory power. The late Philip Skell, Emeritus Professor at Pennsylvania State University, found that he could easily substitute the word evolution for Buddhism, Aztec cosmology, or even creationism in biological papers, and that the substitution never touched the paper's core, that the substitution could occur without loss of meaning and explanatory power. To conclude, let's summarize the main points of our discussion. We delved into the Darwinian perspective, which often views teleology as a relic of theological or Aristotelian thought. However, we also explored the teleological perspective, which argues for the existence of a final cause or purpose inherent in nature. Think about the shapes of carnivore and herbivore teeth, as Aristotle did. Renowned scholars and studies like those of Bernard de Brera, Michael Egnor, J.B.S. Haldane, and Annie L. Crawford reaffirmed the importance of teleology in biological science. They argue that it's nearly impossible to discuss biological phenomena without invoking purpose or goal-oriented language. In fact, the 2020 study Metaphor and Meaning in the Teleological Language of Biology found that teleological concepts enrich biological explanations. They provide meaning and explanatory power that cannot be easily dismissed or substituted. It's clear that teleology, the concept of end, goal, or purpose, holds immense importance in our understanding and descriptions of biological science, whereas Darwinian evolution, which denies teleology, is found to be a superfluous narrative gloss in biological science.